square. This can be done using the 3, 4, 5 method on the decking frame timbers. 1. Measure 3 feet along the ledger and mark. 2. Measure 4 feet along the outside joist and mark. 3. Adjust the outside joist so that 5 feet is the measurement between the marks. Using a mixture of sand and cement, we can now bed and level the slabs to the height required to level the outside joists. Connect the header joist to the outside joist using Osmose landscape screws. Measure and mark each timber joist and cut so they fit into the joist hangers. Remember to seal any cuts with Osmose Endcoat Preserver. Position the joist in the hanger and attach them at each end using joist nails. Use 47mm by 150mm joist offcuts as noggins to add stability to the deck frame. Stagger the noggins for ease of nailing. We are now going to add posts for the positioning of our balusters. Position the posts where required, make level, and connect using 150mm galvanized coach bolts. Please note that when using post and railing systems on larger decks, the posts should be placed no further than 2.4 meters, 8 feet, apart. When planning post and railing for larger decks, allow and make plans for positioning of any stairs or gates. With our posts in place, we can now begin to lay the deck boards. Laying the boards is the most satisfying and most important part of the job because it is the most visible feature. Position the first board parallel to the header with the required overhang, ensuring that it is perfectly straight. Drill 2 pilot holes in the ends of the deck board before attaching them to the outside joist. This will prevent the deck board from splitting at the ends. Some notching of deck boards around posts may be required. Simply measure the depth of each notch and remove with a jigsaw or handsaw and chisel. Position the remaining boards and let the ends overhang the outside joist. We recommend that you leave a gap of 3 to 5mm between each board to allow for any board movement. Attach each board to each joist with 2 63mm Osmose deck screws. For a professional finish, the boards can be trimmed to the edges after completion. To ensure a straight edge, snap a chalk line along the boards, leaving the desired overhang, and trim with a circular saw or jigsaw. Treat all cut ends with an Endcoat Preserver. Now we are ready to install the railings. There are a number of different types of railing systems available. For this deck, we have chosen to use some decorative spindles. Install the top rail in the required position after it has been cut to length. Check for level and fasten securely using 2 63mm Osmose deck screws on each end. We are now going to attach our balusters to the bottom rail prior to installing. This is for ease of fixing on this particular style. Remember, spindles should be spaced, ensuring that the maximum gap between them is 100mm for safety reasons. We used the spacing block and 63mm Osmose deck screws. Finally, we added some decking to act as a fascia to cover the header joist and built a functional bench out of some deck boards we had left over. Okay, now we've finished the deck. What material did we use? 14 joists, 3.6 meters long, 1 header board and 1 ledger, 5.4 meters long, 22 square meters of decking board. For the railings, 68 spindles, 8 posts and 18 rails, 563mm Osmose deck screws, 8 150mm Osmose landscape screws, 7 12 by 170mm through bolts, 24